Hey y'all, I was so excited to watch Materialist and I'll be talking about it in this video today. So my name's Sharon, I love talking about movies and thank you for joining me. Today, like I said, I will be reviewing Materialist, which I saw over the weekend, and I have quite a few thoughts. So this is more of a review for discussion, so there will be spoilers. Just warning you, but yeah, I just have a few thoughts about this film. So for a super quick background, this is a Celine Song directed piece, and if you don't know who Celine Song is, she is the one who directed Past Lives, which came out I think a couple of years ago. And yeah, I think this is her second feature film. So it stars, of course, Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal. I hope I'm saying that correctly. So, like I said, I was very much looking forward to this one. And look, I think it was okay. I don't regret my ticket. It was a lovely night out for me. But I think it unfortunately fell a little bit short for me in a few areas, and that is what we'll be discussing today. So I've got my cup of tea with me over here because there's a lot to say. Look, I will say that I enjoyed this one better than Past Lives, and I say that because unfortunately I know everybody absolutely loved Past Lives, and I have massive respect for that movie and what it did in the film community and the representation and all the good things. But look, it was okay. I mean, Past Lives was okay. It didn't really cut deep for me. I think like it did for, I feel like literally everybody else in the world but me. So I will say that for me, Materialist was probably a bit more substantial than Past Lives, which is good. So there was a bit more to this one. But we'll talk first about what I did enjoy about this one. So honestly, I think my favorite part of this film was Dakota Johnson. I think she is a wonderful actress. I think she is absolutely beautiful, and I think she showed up. I mean, she has a very particular kind of acting style, and I think sometimes the Dakota that you see on screen I feel like a lot of the roles that she takes are an extension of herself, which is completely fine, and I think she plays that really well. She plays that best. So she was just so gorgeous to see on screen, and she just was very engrossing. So I think I really liked that. That was probably my favorite part of this film altogether, really. I liked the kind of fresh outtake on the typical New York City romance. I liked kind of the premise of what they were doing here. So yeah, that was lovely. Now, honestly, I'm gonna take a cup of tea, a sip here. Because we've got a few problems, and I think the problems unfortunately kind of outweighed what I did like about this one. And my main issue was that I was not convinced of Dakota Johnson's character Lucy and Chris Evans' character, I think his name was John. I was not convinced of their love. I was not convinced, because at the end, of course, you know, they end up together, and I was just kind of like, you know, I really don't know why she chose this man. Like, I mean, the premise of the film is obviously, you know, John basically just being a tortured artist who's broke, essentially. He's a tortured 38, I think he's 37 or 38-year-old man who's been trying to be an actor for years and years and years, and he hasn't quite made it properly and substantially, and he's still in the same financial position as he was when he was with Lucy, which is the reason that they broke up in the first place. My issue was with this film, I think, was potentially a writing issue. I feel that there was not enough information telling us why we should be rooting for John instead of, you know, the other guy. We had one scene of a flashback of Lucy and John's original relationship, of them fighting about money. But apart from that, I didn't know why Lucy was so down bad for this man. Like, there was no footage or real tangible evidence as to where their connection is and why there's actually love between them. And the problem with that is the point of the film was to push this narrative of love, you know, being more, I guess, more of a noble cause than pursuing marriage as a business contract. But I feel like that actually was not driven home, and I think that was the point that Celine was trying to make, but I feel like that just was not really driven home. I mean, there was chemistry between them, between Lucy and John. I think the only thing I can think of that convinced us as to why she really loved him was that, I don't know, he called up on her that one time, and, you know, he was the person to speak to her during a hard time. But like, it was not convincing why she was so in love with this man who could not provide her the future and the security that she wanted. There just was not enough convincing there in my eyes. And so that was a major issue, which bleeds well then into the main issue, which is that I just was not convinced about this man, about Chris. I was not convinced about their connection together. And I think this film was a wider commentary on, you know, the choosing love versus, I guess, love versus like money, right? And clearly the narrative of the, you know, giving the broke guy a chance was what Celine was trying to push here. But I feel like it was actually supposed to land. I think this was a great opportunity for this to land, but it actually didn't. And I think it didn't because I don't know if the writing of this film was even convinced of the love story between Lucy and John in the first place. Because really with John, there's actually just not much to go off, you know, for what makes this guy so amazing. And I just found it so fascinating how Lucy compromised herself in both instances, you know, with of course the tall, dark, handsome millionaire that was played by Pedro Pascal. I think his name was, I can't remember, Harry. It was Harry. Obviously there was no love between Lucy and Harry, which was understandable, and she did not want to compromise not having the feeling of love. But again, that still did not justify her choice in John, because in John there was kind of nothing else to really go for. And I think that was probably the writing problem, that John's character was not fleshed out enough for us to buy why she loves him so much. So it fell short for me in that sense. And I ironically think that the very point that was trying to be made in this film actually did not hit home, because maybe it's actually not a point to make, and actually maybe that point may not be the most beneficial point for people who are watching this movie to take home. You know, we're living in an economy where, you know, you need two incomes to survive, and Chris Evans' character is essentially, he really can't actually provide. He cannot provide for a family. He is barely providing for himself. and Lucy going directly against her fully justified instinct and need to be in a financially secure relationship with at least an equal partner or more, her need for that just completely being bypassed and her completely compromising on that. Just, I was like, I don't know what message this is sending. Actually, I have no idea what message this is sending at all. So that was really, I don't know. I think it was so hard to root for their love because I just did not see much to root for with John. I just couldn't see what there was to root for with this guy. And I think it was probably a missed opportunity to really drive home that, you know, love is conquers all, being treated well, you know, being treated kindly, having a strong emotional connection, that all conquers a lot of other things, but that actually was not really depicted enough, unfortunately. So it was pretty hard to believe. So I think that's where this really fell short. I mean, I went on Letterboxd and the girlies are calling this the broke man narrative. The broke man propaganda, that's it. That is being pushed. Oh God. Yeah, I mean, that's controversial. And yeah, like, look, if you are going to push the broke man propaganda, that's completely fine, but actually make a good argument for it. And I just think that this didn't quite do it. So those are my thoughts. I miss, you know, love movies and rom-coms from the 90s and 2000s. And I think I will make a video on that at some point. But I think that we're kind of missing that authenticity and that realness that was from that time. I think I miss seeing that, and I'm not quite seeing it on screen, unfortunately. So look, go and check it out. It's a lovely movie. It's for a lovely night. It was okay. So yeah, definitely go and check it out and see what you think. Thank you so much for checking in with me. If you have any comments or any questions or discussions, feel free to pop them down below. Please like and subscribe, and thank you. I'll see you next time.